Ladies and gentlemen, so honored to be back here, honored to be in my father's rightful place, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, honored to see my Uncle Chuck and Aunt Shirley. Thank you so much. This young lady that just sang, this is my first cousin, Felicia Jackson. This is my first cousin, Felicia Jackson. So singing runs in the family, but I won't sing today. Let me tell you, this has been a week just briefly of so many highs and lows. So I want to tell you there's some good news and bad news. But first, let me give you the bad news. We are under attack like we've been before. I want to thank my brother, Mark Clements. Mark Clements, just raise your hand right there. For all of those persons, Mark, raise your hand, brother. I don't want people right there. I see you, Mark. There you go. Don't look back in history. You know, I know some people don't like to talk about history. History is boring and gets on your nerves and you fall asleep in that class. The good news is you're living through history right now. So don't tell me what you would have done in segregation. Don't tell me what you would have done in slavery. Don't tell me what you would have done. If you're not doing it now, you're the same person that wouldn't have done anything in Jim Crow then. There's some good news and some bad news. On this same week, as I look up and see what happened in Washington, D.C., there was a horrific assassination. No one should have their life taken by an assassin from 200 meters with a bullet that has inscription on it because of what you said. We can have political discourse, but we need to make sure this clamor, this language is toned down. They have now doubled the budget for security for members of Congress. This level of violence is permeating through the hallways of Congress, and everyone can be attacked. 2 people are jailed today for credible death threats on me. That's bad news. But the good news is you got the wrong one because I'm not afraid. We're not going back. The bad news is at the beginning of this week, they put a resolution onto the House of the United States Representatives for a non-elected official to honor the life of Mr. Charlie Kirk. And they told us be political because also 2/3 of that bill, 3/4 of that bill, honoring the life's work of Mr. Kirk. Bless his life, bless him where he goes. But the last quarter of that argument was condemning violence. So the way they flipped the script is saying if you don't vote for this, you are in fact inciting and appreciating violence. So let's go on and honor him because we don't want to get caught in a gotcha and a trap where people can weaponize the message and lie against us. And they went around and polled us and asked us, how will you vote? Because we don't want to get trapped in the messaging war. And I said simply, are you serious? I said, I represent the 1st District. When you ask me to acknowledge the virtues of a man who says Miss Ketanji Brown Jackson doesn't have the brain processing power. First Lady Michelle Obama doesn't have the brain processing power. Miss Joy Reid doesn't have the brain processing power. When you tell me that all of these women that he's attacked are African American and you want me to honor him, the vote is not no, the vote is hell no. So however they want to flip the language, switch it around, twist it around, I will tell each and every one of you that you've given me the privilege to represent you. We voted no. These women have dignity, these women have honor, and we will not be disrespected. But in the same week, before I take my seat and bring on our illustrious keynoter for today, in the same week, they also attacked the African American History Museum that you've heard about. There's an iconic photo. It's called the Scourged Back. It's the African American male that you see that has keloids all over his back. They said this was taken in 1863. The technology of that time was photography. No one had ever seen, there's no picture of George Washington that was taken. It was all printed and reproduction. So these are the actual photos. This was a revolutionary thing. They had heard about the scourge of slavery in the past, but no one had ever seen all the witnesses. If you lived in Massachusetts, northern Michigan, this was incomprehensible what could have been happening for hundreds of years in the United States. So when the people came and saw this man, and he was shirtless, they said, down there in Louisiana, and he greets the Union soldiers in 1863. He turns around and shows him his back. It was horrific. That picture went around the world. It started mobilizing, galvanizing the abolitionists to have forces. In March of this year, the President of the United States, he wrote another edict, if you will, an executive order that says we are dealing with improper ideology in what is being curated in the History Museum of African Americans. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that's a bit of a misnomer when you say the term African American histories. We have our place in history. We make American history whole. We've always been here. You can't have a white history and a black history. We're trying to make American history whole. Tell the whole truth. Why do people want to take that picture out of the African American History Museum? What's next? Are you going to go and deny the history of Armenians, where 2 million people have gotten killed? Are you going to deny the history of World War II, where 20 million Russians were killed? Are you going to go deny the history of the Jewish community when 6 million people were killed? Are you going to deny the history of the transatlantic slave? Are you going to deny the history of the British poisoning the Chinese, where 60 million people died? When is this going to stop? Are you going to deny the history of the Irish that were said they had a smaller medulla oblongata and they were less intelligent than the other Europeans? It's time to stand up. The good news is we will not succumb to the scourge of those that are fighting and trying to eradicate our history. We've been here before, but now we're so much more prepared. Now we're so much more determined. I thank God for you.